Hello everyone, this is the great Lord and Master, Osiron, the Eternal. Well, it's going to be an interesting episode. Alright, what we see here down at the bottom, this is what started all of this, basically. This is what I'm calling a interlaced number grid, or the three-phase interlaced number grid. And what this does, this is another form of an infinite web matrix, but it does something else. See what it does, it goes across the bottom, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and on, and it goes up the same way, 0, 1, 2, on and on. And the next row is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, on and on. And the third row is 2, 4, 3, and all this, and this interlaces together to form an infinite grid. But the thing about it, the thing that helped me discover this was really the tarot cube video I made the other day, because I noticed that every three sets of numbers all reduced to 6 to infinity. I was like, wait a minute, something's going on here. So what I did was I just moved the numbers to either side in both directions, and when you do that they reduce to 3 if you go to the left, and if you go to the right it reduces to 9. And we've been seeing this all along with the true tree and jewel. See, I have the true tree here in its inverted root position, and then the jewel of creation, which is what the Kabbalistic tree really is here. And as I've gone over like thousands of times by now, these three numbers on the true tree reduce to 3, 3, 3, and 3. And up here they reduce to 6, 6, and 6. But because of all the angles and everything else that's going on with the true tree and the jewel, it just sort of, slipped by without me really noticing it. But it was that tarot cube video that really started to bring it out. Like, wait a minute, there's something going on here, and that's what it does. But also what that suggests is that there may be, in fact, a third tree structure. Because if we use the bottom code of 3, 0, 1, 2, on, that gives us the true tree. And in the middle one, the 1, 2, 3, without 0, gives us the jewel. Well, the top one that begins with 2, 3, 4 may be this other structure, and it is. And this is what is going on here, up here. And actually what this is the center of a structure that I've been demonizing and for months now. And this is almost like the Ashiana Dean structure that I talked about in a couple of videos. The only difference is there is no 1 up top here and there's no 12 on the bottom, but those don't belong there. That's the mistake with that Ashiana Dean structure, is the 1 and the 12 don't belong in this structure. It belongs the way it is with 2, 3, 4. It belongs beginning with 2, just like this row does, because this row begins with 2. 2, 3, 4 adds up to 9. 5, 6, 7 add to 9. 8, 9, 10 reduce to 9. 11, 12, 13 reduce to 9. All of them do this. And it shows some more interesting aspects to this, too, is you can see that this is separated into segments, okay? 9-digit segments. Each block is a segment of 9, and it reveals the 3, 6, and 9 going up. And also, crossways, it reveals the 3, 6, 9 too. But each segment of 9, this first segment adds to 18, this next segment adds to 45, this third segment adds to this number 72, and the fourth one adds to 99. And each of these segments are separated by 27 digits. So 18, if you add 27 to 18, it becomes 45. If you add 27 to this, it becomes 72. If you add 27 to this, it becomes 99. And this also extends to infinity. And what you get when you do that is this here. This reveals all of the possible 3, 6, and 9 combinations that are available in increments. And I got this over here laid out, and this is pretty interesting what happens. See, what I have is all the order of the 3, 6, 9. It begins with 3, 6, 9, then the next one is 3, 9, 6, and then it goes 6, 3, 9, and in the dead center is 6, 6, 6. And then and then it goes 693, 936, and then 963 again. And then what I have next to that is the number in the number sequence in the string where it shows up. So the first 369 shows up at the 14th spot. The second one is right next to it in the 15th spot. And then this black line here, it jumps 9 intervals of 27, and then it reveals the next one of 693, which is the 24th. The 25th right next to it is 666, and the 26th one is 693, and these are all together in a group. And then this next black line, it goes 9 more intervals of 27, and then it reveals 936 is the 35th, and 963 is the 36th position. And the numbers in the third column is what those numbers reduce to. Like the 14 becomes 5 and all that. So what you're also seeing is a pattern of that. So I'll start with 5, then it shows 2 6s, 7 in the dead center with 666, and then 2 8s, and then finally a 9. And this is what's revealing with that. And very, very fascinating what's going on. And the last one before it jumps into 4 numbers is 990, and that is the 37th position, and that reduces to a 1. So that's just there to show that before it jumps into the 4 digits string, which is outside of a possible combination of 3, 6, or 9, is 37. But what's interesting is these two numbers in the middle here on the D mark line, the two masculine numbers 6 and 6, and on the next one is 8 and 8. There, and then and of course dead center, the 666 in the dead center is the 7, which is pretty interesting too, because so there's basically 6 combinations of 3, 6, and 9 going on, and then in the dead center is the 6. And but now getting back to this structure here, there's some interesting, like, what is this structure? What is this mysterious third structure? Well, it tells you right in the code of numbers what it is. 9, 3, and 6 is only a separation of 9. As a matter of fact, all the digits are that. See, up here it says 9 is 0 unmasked, and all the rest of the numbers are only splits of 9. The difference between the 9 and the 0 is that 9 isn't a split of 0. 9 is 0. That's the difference. 9 and 0 are the same, and we're going to see how that unfolds here in a minute too. Because the rest of the numbers are all divisions of 9. We got 1 and 8, 2 and 7, 3 and 6, and 4 and 5. Those are splits of 9. And then we see on the Osiron Tarot Spiral, I get into that, but it shows as 4 splits of 9, and 9 plus 4 is 13, and 9 times 4 is 36. But this structure here, as I got into before, its cross oppositions reveal 13 or 4, but all of them do it. So 9 plus 4 is 13 this way, 3 plus 10 is 13, 6 plus 7 is 13, 5 and 8 is 13, and 2 and 11 is 13. All those reduce to 4. And this is with this fusion structure. And what this really is just a fusion of the true tree and jewel. It's sort of like a different interpretation of the Tree of the Great Lord, because I have a video about that. I'm not going to get into that, but it's using the same structure, and as that, and it shows that structure, and all of the. Now, there is something about this that is different, and it's showing the two-ness of it. See, this bottom 11 here really doesn't belong with this structure. It does, and it doesn't. This is the paradox we're getting into. Because this begins with 2, so it's saying that it is 2. It's 2 acting as 1. And that's sort of like what's happening here. And that could be, you could say that's an angelic man, or the higher phase of humanity, or something like that. But this is the 2 acting as 1. But this 11 really doesn't belong in the grid, because what happens down here is this is actually the next section. Like, these first 3 sections are actually one segment. And this next one is the beginning of another segment. And the only reason I include it is because I have to account for the 9. So this is what's happening. Now this starts off with 0, but remember 9 and 0 are the same thing. So with the 0 here, we can say that's a 9. So it goes 0 through 8, and I got videos how I show where 9 is revealed by 8. it just appears out of nowhere like 0. Well, this is this. But for the true, but I add the 9, and that's showing what's going on with the true tree. And this line is that. See, 0 through 8 is the actual aspect of the God form or the true tree, and the 9 penetrates into the world as our connection to source, and I get into that, and it enters through the root chakra, and it goes up to the body, and this is the analog of the human body. And it's showing that. It's showing that the 8 is separate, and the 9 takes its place in the second construct, which is this middle row here. And this goes through and ends right here, and where it belongs. Now the third row should end here too. It goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that 10 is acting as the 1, so it has all the digits here. But this construct has the 11 in it, which is implying the two-ness of it. So the structure is complete with only these three, like these arrow spaces that go up. It's complete with this, but this next 11 is showing the joining of two constructs. So this is actually two constructs in one construct. See, this 11 is needed to create symmetry in balance. So this actually belongs, it does belong here, but it's showing that it's not one, it is in fact two. So this is two constructs too. So this is all congruent and beautifully symmetrical. It reveals the paradox of existence. So it's sort of showing that every time you think you're at something that's only a 1, if you start scratching at that 1, it reveals itself to be a 2 too. So anytime you think you're at oneness, it really, if you scratch the surface, it will really end up being duality. And it goes back to the nature of what I've been saying, that there is no such thing as 1, there's only 0 and 2. Well, this is sort of validating that in the construct here. And now, another interesting thing about this construct is, now it puts the 3, 6, 9 on what would be the feminine pillar. These numbers add up to become 12 on the masculine, which is 12, but it reduces to a 3. In the middle pillar, what happens is the numbers add up and reveal 26, and then those reduce to 8. Now in this case, the middle pillar is entirely masculine in a sense, but remember that what the 8 is just both halves of the elements. The 4 female elements and then the 4 masculine elements. So even with this 8, it's showing the union of the two. But now what's very interesting about this, if you add up the numbers 18, which is all the numbers in this column unreduced, with the 12, which is all the numbers in this column unreduced, to the 26, which is all the numbers in this column unreduced, those three numbers total to 56. And I got that on top here, 56. And that is the heart of the true tree and jewel. The 5 is the heart of the true tree, and the jewel is the heart of the 6 is the heart of the jewel of creation. So it's showing the importance of number code with these constructs. Because one of the things that that I hammer on all the time is the Kabbalistic tree of life. And the only thing the Kabbalists can say is that our construct doesn't use the single-digit code. But if they're saying that, what they're saying is they're defying nature. So it's basically saying that their construct is just esoteric jargon with no real substance, is what it's saying. But we know what it really is. It's a perpetuation of the Abrahamic perversion, putting the masculine before the feminine, and that's why it doesn't work. And that's why the single-digit code says that the Kabbalistic tree of life is a fraud, because it is. Because it is. Because the single-digit code is the matrix of the universe and the matrix of creation. If any esoteric construct defies it, it's tainted and flawed, which is the Kabbalistic tree of life. So now we're seeing the true tree here, the jewel, and now this construct, which is almost like the Ashyanadine construct, but it's not, because Ashyanadine put a 1 up here and a 12 down here, and those don't belong, because there is no 1 here, and the 12 they would just put for symmetry. But so this construct is the center of the Ashyanadine construct, and it is, we can, just for now, I'll call it the androgyne. This is a sigil for the androgyne, which is the angelic man in his higher state, a fusion of the material with the divine in here, which is just another version of the tree of the Great Lord, which I have videos about, which is a fusion of these two as well. So now I want to get into something amazing because this title is called the Unicursal Double Pentagram and the Interlaced Number Grid. And I discovered this structure here. You're going to see two stars here, two pentagrams. And basically I discovered this trying to fill up board space. Because at one point I had this and this and this and that and there was something in here and there's a big space I was just trying to fill. And trying to think of a space to fill it. And that's when I discovered this construct. Well, this is the two pentagrams, the upright pentacle and the inverted pentacle, but this also reveals the single digit code and the true nature of 0 and 9. And this is a unicursal, this is a construct that's created using one stroke. And here's what happens. It starts out in the center point that is 0. And then, now this probably would be better if it went downward first, but I have it going up. But you just reverse it. So what happens is, you're at 0 point, it goes up to 1, you follow this line to 2, follow this line to 3, follow this line to 4. Now this line shoots straight through, and you put 5, follow this line to 6, this line to 7, this line to 8, and this 8 line goes back to the center with 9. So this is a completely congruent, unicursal double pentagram. And it's sort of like, this theme, again, every video this year has a solid theme of 2 to it, and this is the same thing. There is no 1. There's only 0 and 2. Because consciousness can't exist without something to bounce off of, basically, is what that is. And that was 0 to it, And this is what we're seeing here. Now, what this also does is produces counter-rotating vortexes. Because this upper star constructs itself in a clockwise vortex, and then this lower pentagram constructs itself in a counterclockwise vortex. So we're seeing double counter-rotating vortexes in this construct. And now all of the numbers in this upper pentagram reduce to become a 1, and all of the numbers in the lower pentagram reduce to become an 8. So we're seeing the 1-8 separation with this, which is in so many of the structures now. I mean, even this, the true tree and the jewel, uses 18 spheres, and the number totals for all the numbers here add to 81. So the octahedron kundalini grid uses 1 and 8. So many things. This 1 and 8 is like the core of existence in a lot of ways. There's 1-8 connection. Now, what happens is, if you were to fold this in half, it doesn't just reduce to 9 right away, okay? What happens is, if you were fold, so now, you see the 0 and the 9? Now, I have a friend who talks about the spindle quite a bit, a good friend of mine, the spindle. Well, what this is, it's not a spindle per se, but it is a fulcrum. So now, if you bend these two stars, fold them in half, what happens is, the 2 and the 6 join to become 8, the 4 and the 8 here reduce to become a 3, but first 12. And over here, the 3 and the 7 join to become a 1, and the 5 and the 1 join to become a 6. So when you fold that in half, what you have left is the 1 and the 8, and the 6 and the 3, or the 3 and the 6. But you can see it does that in a cross pattern too. You got feminine, masculine, masculine, feminine, or feminine, masculine, masculine, feminine. It's a cross-angular thing. And then what happens is it folds one more time on the same fulcrum. Now this 8 joins to become a 9, and this 3 joins to become 6. And what you're left with is 3 9s. 3 9s. And 9 plus 9 plus 9 is 27, which is the separation of each of these number grids. 18 plus 45 is 27, 27, 27, which reveals this, and so on and so forth. And now, what is also interesting in this that I want to get to, all of the cross oppositions of each of these constructs produce a different number. So we have the 4 in the 0 is 4, 2 and 2 is 4, 3 and 1 is 4, and 3 and 1 is 4. The cross oppositions of this are 4 here. The cross oppositions of this second one reduce to 1. 7 and 3 is 10, which becomes 1. 5 and 5 is 1. 6 and 4 is 1. And 6 and 4 is 1. This one reduces to 7. 6 and 1 is 7. 8 and 8 is 16, which is 7. 7, 7, 7. And then the last one is just the first one all over again. which is 4. So let's reveal, if you recall from the Vortex Math presentations, there are 3 number groups. You got 4, 1, 7, 2, 5, 8, and 3, 6, 9. Well, all of these cross oppositions are revealing the 4, 1, 7 number group, which is ultimately the feminine one, because 4, 1, 7 adds to 12, which reduces to 3. So again, we're seeing this trinary aspect going on. There's even some mythology of saying the number of God actually is 3. Well, we're seeing this trinary aspect all over the place. We got 3 9s will become 27. We got the number groups cross oppositions, which is nothing but bouncing of duality, which reveals 4, 1, 7, which becomes 12, then 3. So we're seeing a lot of this amazingness going on here. And even in the middle of this, we see the 6, 3, 9, 6, 6, 6, and 6, 9, 3. So 3 shows up quite a bit. We're seeing 3 now. We're seeing 3 tree structures. We got the 1, the 2, and fusion. Even the universal tree of divine perfection is that it shows the 1, the 2, and then the fusion, which is basically this 2. It's all the same thing. But this pentagram structure really is pretty amazing. Because it just reveals a single digit code so beautifully. But this does too. This is the single digit code. This is the, what do I call it? The 3-phased interlaced number grid, and that's what it is. And this shows the true treated jewel and the astral man, or the angelic man, if you want to call it that. I think that's about it. Oh, yeah, that's about it. I got to this, right? The 4 splits of 9, 4 plus 9 is 13, 4 times 9 is 36. And we see this all over the Osiron Tarot Spiral. The 4 plus 9 is 13. We see that on the solstice axis. In the 36, if you take away the aces, which is really just the 0 aspects of the elements, then you're left with 36 pips that go around the center. No, 36 deacons that go around the center. So there's a lot of really powerful and really interesting number correlation to go along with the structure. I might not have said this. Oh, there is one thing I want to get to too. This will show how 9 is acting as 0. Because remember, this 4th unit here is actually the beginning of a new sequence of 3. And this is showing how 9 is taking the place of 0. Because right here we have 0, it goes 1, 2, 3. And this 9 is outside of all of this, acting as 0 for this construct. So the 9 is doing what the only number that would have authority to do that would be 9. And 9 is serving as 0 here. But 0 is 9, and 9 is 0 as I got up here. That's the difference between all the other numbers and the 9 and 0, is 9 and 0 are the same point. And it shows up here on this pentagram structure because the center point here is 1 point. The 0 and 9 is that 1 point, and all of the other numbers are splits of 9, the dual aspect. So if there was a 1, if there was a true 1 in the universe, it would be 0 and 9. That's it. So thank you, and namaste.